starts now. And we begin with another day that came close to triple digits for many and extreme heat that is not quite ready to loosen its grip.
Let's check in first with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino for a timeline on how hot it's going to get and when it will cool off. Matt?
Yeah, it's going to stay hot for another few days, but there is a little bit of good news mixed into the forecast every day. We're still sitting at 81 degrees, which is basically where we've been at this time of the night for the last 3 nights, give or take maybe a degree. But look, it's 79 in Hillsborough, 74 in McMinnville, 79 Scappoose. When we look at some other temperatures around town, it's a little bit cooler, but pretty much upper 70s all over the place. But Portland is the hot spot. And I'm going to explain that, why that is the case a little bit later on. Look at the coast, though, in the 50s. They're just fantastic. So as we look at our temperatures overnight, we will drop through the 70s. We'll drop below 70 degrees about 6, 7 a.m. So overnight, it won't be too brutally uncomfortable, but it is warm out there, and it will remain warm again tomorrow. We're going to go for 99 tomorrow. But if I were to adjust that forecast, I would adjust it downward a little bit. We may be seeing another one of those little surges of cooler air from the coast trying to roll into the valleys, kind of like we've had the last couple of days that have kept us below 100 degrees. Still looks like Saturday will be the hottest day of the remaining part of this heat wave, which is now up to 5 days. Tomorrow will be 6. Slight cooling Sunday, and then the big cool down comes Sunday night into Monday. That's when things are really going to improve. We'll see a big shift in the pattern. Again, I'll talk about the urban heat island effect a little bit later on. Got some great pictures for you, too, from all around the region, and more on the hot weather. Guys?
A good reason to look forward to Monday. Thank you, Matt. The extreme heat has now appeared to have claimed more lives. The state medical examiner confirmed 2 more deaths today, with a total of 4 in Oregon this week. 3 of the deaths happened in Multnomah County. The other happened in Umatilla County. These are considered suspected heat-related deaths until the medical examiner can determine the official cause. After nearly 100 people died in Oregon in last year's heat wave, leaders made changes to try to make sure more people had access to help. And that includes an expanded 211 hotline. Let's bring in Alma McCarty for a closer look at how things are going. Alma?
Well, Laurel, access to these services is critical for many. Multnomah County leaders reported a spike in medical calls this week. Several patients treated at local hospitals for heat illness. And as you mentioned earlier, 4 people now have died due to the heat.
The sweltering heat across Portland and beyond, reminding many of last year's deadly heat dome.
It's bad, but it's not that bad. Couldn't even breathe last year.
Events and missteps from summer 2021, such as the 211 helpline failures, where hundreds were left hanging during the height of the heat wave.
There was some miscommunication and misunderstanding on our operating hours,
are now helping inform this year's plans.
We developed a punch list of things, right? Improvements. Course corrections, if you will, that we wanted to do going forward.
Dan Herman, CEO at 211 Info, said in July 2021, the nonprofit went statewide, expanding their staff to now 150 and extending their availability to maintain a 24/7 operation. So far, the team's handled around 650 calls, the majority of those from residents in Multnomah County.
We've been activated since 1 p.m. this past Monday. We're getting about 200 calls a day. The predominance of those calls are around where our cooling centers, navigation to cooling centers, and also air conditioners.
And to get that info, the average wait time for callers is between 13 and 30 seconds.
Last year, I'll mark down to a big year of learnings, not just for 211 Info, but also partners, the collective system that is support for a crisis or a time like this.
In Multnomah County, 4 cooling shelters remain open through at least Saturday. Officials reporting about 170 people stayed overnight Wednesday. That's roughly 60% capacity overall.
This spot filled up relatively quickly.
Jake Dornblazer helps run this one downtown in the Portland building.
Calling 211 is usually the best option because we report how many spots are available at each shelter. So they're going to be able to tell you which space has spots available for folks.
Tony Scarino.
It's been great. It helped us a lot.
Says he's grateful for a cool place to rest out of the sun.
Pretty hard being out there in this kind of heat, so I think they should come on these shelters and cool down.
Other ways to cool down in Portland are listed here on the county's interactive map. Locate the nearest pool or misting station. A quick respite from the heat while looking ahead to cooler days.
You can also get info from 211 by texting your zip code to 898-211 or heading to the website. Keep in mind, TriMet is offering free rides to cool spaces if you're unable to pay. David?
Glad to hear things seem to be going so much better. Thank you, Alma. Now, on top of improving 211, Multnomah County leaders also promised enhanced outreach and door-to-door checks. So we followed up today and found this week the county and city of Portland are leaving most in-person checks to nonprofits and housing providers, though the city adds it's sending out tens of thousands of automated messages to people in high-risk areas.
There's never going to be enough firefighters or, even enough, trained volunteers to go and knock on every single door, but everybody has somebody who cares about them, and that is really has to be the solution.
Yeah, tonight on the story, we also talked to volunteers reaching out and found out why housing providers appear to be better prepared this year than last. You can watch the full report right now on our KGW YouTube channel.
No surprise, Portland is getting an increase in 911 calls because of our hot weather. The city's taken more than 70 heat-related calls since Sunday. Major events like this add to the already increasing call load, a challenge they're trying to meet by hiring more dispatchers. Catherine Cook shows us what it takes to do the job and how you can apply.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
In Portland, 911 dispatchers are the gateway to police, fire, medical, and now Portland Street Response.
Some people call us the first responders.
A critical role the city says it needs more people to fill.
We are seeing a huge increase of calls that we never had before.
Chelsea Labar spent 7 years as a 911 dispatcher. Now she trains them. For Portland's Bureau of Emergency Communications, that starts with a 12-week in-house academy, then working with a coach while taking live calls.
You feel excited, you feel a sense of responsibility, you feel a sense of importance. There's, it's kind of scary. Every call is different.
Right now, BOEC has 104 dispatchers. They're aiming for at least 131. In the last 2 years, they've lost 43, 6 of them to promotions. Add to that employees who need to call in sick.
911 centers all over the nation are experiencing the same staffing shortages. We have growing communities, and we're just not hiring enough to meet those needs.
Last summer, a KGW investigation found BOEC wasn't answering 911 calls fast enough and often failed to meet the national standard of answering 90% of all 911 calls within 15 seconds. In August, the average 911 caller in Portland waited nearly a minute.
How is this acceptable?
It's not. Absolutely not.
Even now, callers often face hours-long wait times for the city's non-emergency line. It's a problem they hope to address with more hires.
They're doing amazing work here.
Candidates need either a high school degree or GED and be at least 18 years old. They must be able to type 40 words per minute with 90% accuracy and pass a background and psych assessment. And of course, they need to apply.
This is an extremely fulfilling job. You're serving your community.
The city will take applications through August 14th. They're also offering 2 informational sessions next month, one in person and one online. We'll post more information, including an application link, on KGW.com. David.
Absolutely critical work. Thank you, Catherine. The extreme heat means some drivers are having to pump their own gas in Oregon. It's a state tradition of sorts and now upended, with stations giving their workers a break, a much needed break. It comes as Oregon's governor declared a state of emergency in 25 counties. Now, you might still find attendants at stations most of the time, but when workers need to get out of the heat, there will be signs at the pump telling you to pump your own gas.
Now let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. Authorities rushed to Oxbow Park tonight after getting calls 3 people needed help in the water. Gresham Fire tells us this started with a 12-year-old who was swept away in the Sandy River Rapids when 2 family members who went in after him and also had trouble swimming. All 3 ended up on a sandbar in the middle of the river and had to be rescued from there. All are okay tonight, but they did go to the hospital to make sure. It was just yesterday another man drowned at Oxbow Park. Authorities identified him today as 46-year-old Derek Johnson.
A historic ship that used to ferry people and cars across the Columbia has capsized. A viewer shared these pictures of the boat listing just off downtown Astoria with us. According to the Astorian newspaper, the boat is named the Tourist No. 2 and was built in the 1920s. Today it started listing to one side, sending diesel flowing into the water there. The Astorian reports that other boaters and the Coast Guard were at the site this afternoon working to contain that spill. The ferry had been up for sale.
We are learning more about the death of Oregon football player Spencer Webb. The Oregonian got a copy of the Lane County Sheriff's Department report. It said Webb was attempting to climb a nearly vertical cliff when he fell, some 25 to 30 feet near Triangle Lake. While the University of Oregon honored him in a public memorial last week, his family will hold a public service in his hometown of Sacramento this weekend.